Sometimes politicians say something harrowing, but people don't realize how bad it is because it involves very boring sounding jargon. So I'm going to take something Poilievre said recently and explain why one lawyer described it to me as, quote, disturbing. Here's what's going on. Recently, while speaking to the Canadian Police Association, Pierre Poilievre said he would make our bail laws even tougher. Never mind the fact that the majority of people in Canada's jails right now are legally innocent, meaning they were denied bail but haven't been convicted yet. But that's for another video. Poilievre also said he'd like to make it more difficult for convicted to transfer out of maximum security prison. And while you can agree or disagree with his position on crime, he implied he won't let a pesky little thing called the Charter get in the way of the laws he wants to pass.
All of my proposals are constitutional, and we will make them constitutional, using whatever tools the Constitution allows me to use to make them constitutional. I think you know exactly what I mean.
You know that part when he says, you know exactly what I mean? He is almost definitely talking about the notwithstanding clause. Wait, I know your thumb is getting ready to scroll, but just bear with me for 30 more seconds. This is a clause that allows governments, including federal and provincial, to override portions of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms when passing legislation for 5 years at a time. So when a politician uses this clause, they're basically saying, I know this violates some people's rights, but I really want to pass my law, so can't they just take the L? That's why we've seen it used to override the rights of trans and non-binary youth, unionized workers, and religious minorities. It is a very big deal to use this, because as criminal lawyer Michael Spratt told me, it is, quote, a legal and legislative admission of discrimination. Quote, the fact that Poilievre is proud of that black mark is disturbing but not surprising, he said. Spratt told me that the Charter exists to protect minority rights from the cruel and capricious will of the majority, which is why it's wild that Poilievre talked about it like this.
And I will be the democratically elected prime minister, democratically accountable to the people, and they can then make the judgments themselves on whether they think my laws are constitutional.
Spratt went on to say that Poilievre will, as he promises, use the notwithstanding clause first to roll back criminal code protections, and then ask yourself, who will he come after next? Poilievre's team has promised he would only use the notwithstanding clause on matters of criminal justice, which is broad. But at least we know politicians never break their promises. What do you think of all this?